Why is Kamala Harris sort of dangerous to you?
I think Kamala Harris is dangerous to me because she is the ultimate puppet for an organization that has, I believe, since President Obama, not actually run real people. Mm-hmm. They have selected amongst a very small group of individuals that they can control and dictate policy over.
Yes.
I don't think Kamala Harris is somebody who will sit here and tell you how she feels. I think that human capacity of hers has long gone.
Yes.
I think that what she now represents is corporatism. Mm-hmm. She represents a huge amount of cronyism, and I do believe that she is using messaging, and this is the part that worries me the most, is that she uses messaging in a way to get populations of young, unknowing, innocent people to join her on these false virtue signal ambitions and actually take on policies that will eventually really hurt them in the future. My mother is from communist China. Mm-hmm. I grew up hearing about what the famine was like in communist China. This is communism 101.
Well, I know what I can't figure out is why don't they know what's going to happen?
I have to say there's only one party that has obstructed a fair election for us. And unfortunately, it was the Democratic Party. They've done everything they can, including creating PACs to prevent us from being able to have ballot access.
Yeah, it's interesting because you were saying that you could stay in and run the risk of Kamala Harris win, or you could walk and you could join forces with Donald Trump. When you say join forces, Nicole, what do you mean specifically?
Well, this idea of a unity party, an idea of us coming around these principles of fighting for liberty in this country, fighting for our children's health. We have the worst chronic health crisis in the world right now. Over 50% of children are diagnosed with some chronic disease. This is unconscionable. Yeah. And we are willing to work with anyone who is sincere in their endeavor to fix and address this issue.
Do you believe the Trump campaign and Trump himself is sincere? Do you see a home? You talk about this as being Bobby's decision. Do you see a home for RFK Jr. in the Trump administration, Health and Human Services, something to that extent?
I would fully support it. I would fully support a strong partnership dedicated to this issue. A lot of people comment that in his first term he didn't accomplish many of the things that mothers really were hoping he would do. Made some big mistakes around the pandemic. However, I think that he is sincere. Yeah, I do.
I think it's interesting because the National Review today kind of agrees with you. It's saying that if you, in fact, join the Trump I'm not saying the Trump campaign, if you pulled out of the race, that it would be more beneficial to the Trump campaign than the Harris campaign. Is that a fair assessment?
I think that it's a tight race right now. Yeah. I wish that we had a chance to debate, that we had fair representation in the polls. I wish we had a chance to be on stage, because had we likely would have won this election. Yeah. 71% of Americans want a strong third-party option, and we delivered it in terms of ballot access. Yeah. But they're suing us. The DNC-aligned PACs are suing us to get us off the ballots right now. These are frivolous lawsuits. We've had some of the best people involved in our ballot petitions, some of the most precise, signature packages ever submitted to any of the Secretary of States. We've overcome so much to get to this point. So to even be contemplating this is tough. It's a really hard decision, and we don't come to this moment lightly. We come to this moment because in every single decision we make, first and foremost, we want to make sure that we are representing the best interest of health and wellness of young people, children, and future generations.
All right, so today is a day that I don't think any of us really knows what's going to happen. We have a good idea. The breadcrumbs have been laid out in front of us so we can possibly see what's about to happen. But I don't think many people are ready for what the impact of what may happen today. By the time you turn in and go to bed tonight, there's a good chance that the entire political ecosphere of the United States of America has changed forever. I'm hoping that's what happens. I am really hoping and I'm praying that's indeed what happens. The woman you just watched right there is Nicole Shanahan. Nicole Shanahan is RFK Jr.'s running mate, would have been his vice president. And they're scheduled to go live at 2 p.m. I've got all the monitors set to go. And then, once I see them flip a switch, it's just a matter of clicking one or two buttons and we're live. So hopefully they walk up to the mic, give us a chance to do what we need to do. In addition to what I just said, how this could be an epic day in United States political history, I'm going to go out on a limb here. You're probably not going to hear anybody else say this because they don't like being proved wrong. Maybe I'll be proved wrong. Maybe I'll be proved right. But what I'm thinking is, if what I think is going to happen by the end of the day today, whether it be now or on stage at Trump's rally in Glendale or /Phoenix, we're just close to each other. Glendale's like 20 minutes away from Phoenix. It could spell the end of the Democrat Party. Like, Barry, that's a huge statement. They've got millions and gazillions of dollars. They've got all kinds of mechanisms. No. If these two guys get together and they survive and win the election, I really think it will be the end of the Democrat Party. And some of you may be saying to yourself, well, why would you think that? Well, when you tune in tonight at 6:30, I believe, at 6:30, and when we start talking about the aftermath of what happens in the next 25 to 30 minutes, I think it's going to become a lot clearer. I'll give you a spoiler right now. I'm pretty sure that if, and I've said this in the last couple of days, if RFK Jr. in 20 minutes bows out, which everyone expects him to do, if he bows out and then endorses Trump, I don't think it's going to be a tip of the hat, hey, let's hope Trump wins. No. I think if he endorses Trump, he is going to be a part of the campaign. He's going to be an integral part of the administration. And Trump is putting together basically the Avengers of an administration. You can see it happening right now. The Democrats have no match for what Trump and these people would do. Just sit back and think to yourself, a administration with Trump, RFK Jr., Vivek Ramaswamy, Tulsi Gabbard, possibly Tucker Carlson, and Elon Musk. That is the Avengers. That is the Avengers for America, and they would wreak havoc on what the establishment is right now. Just completely tear it down. And I'm going to show you something tonight at 6:30. If things go the way we think here right now, Trump has already announced that he's got a, quote, special guest planned for his rally tonight at 6:30, 7 o'clock. I go live at 6:30, so I'm going to show you the video before then. Let me just make sure nothing's happened yet. Basically, what I'm going to show you tonight, if everything goes the way we think it's going to go, R.F. Kennedy Jr. has almost said the words that he plans on destroying the deep state. Am I still here? Nobody flipped the switch on me? Yeah. He plans on destroying the deep state. So pray for these two men, because we already know what they're trying to do to Trump. And if RFK Jr. aligns with Trump, man, there's going to be two guys right there that are going to have huge crosshairs on their backs wherever they go. The Democrats and the deep state, one and the same if you want to say, and the corrupt media are going to freak out. This is probably one of the most consequential press conferences ever held in political history. I'm not hyping this up. That's how important this is. Well, Barry, he's only got a small percentage of, of the polling data. Screw that. You're going to see how little that polling data means over the next couple of days when these people completely lose their shit. Excuse my language. They are going to freak out. They're already freaking out behind the scenes. Let me show you something. Nicole Shanahan posted this, and she's obviously out there. She's being the voice in front of everything. She goes, "Oh, my old Democrat buddies have been flooding me with frantic calls, texts, and emails. Unlike Roe," not sure who she's talking about there, "unlike Roe, I wouldn't dream of airing those private conversations publicly. But the message is clear from them. They're terrified of the idea of our movement joining forces with Donald Trump. When I point out what the Democratic Party and their super PACs have done to sabotage our campaign, their response is always, 'But Trump is worse.' Here's an idea. Stop suing us. Let us debate. Quit rigging the media and the polls." It's a simple formula. People, get with it. Notice what she said there. Quit rigging the media and the polls. She's letting you guys all know. She's letting America know that these people are rigging everything. The polls and the media. She put them both together in the same sentence. She followed that up with another tweet. Excuse me. This was in response to Jill Stein. And Jill Stein basically was referring to Michelle Obama's speech where she said, "We don't cheat others to get ahead. We don't get to change the rules so we always win." Jill Stein, who is another candidate who's been going through the exact same thing. Stop the gaslighting right now. The Democrats are trying to sue us off multiple state ballots, hiring spies and infiltrators to sabotage us, and even withholding public funds we qualified for months ago. Democrats absolutely cheat and change the rules to maintain their grip on power. So you're seeing two other campaigns out there now saying these people are dirty. They are absolutely dirty. And Nicole Shanahan responded by saying, "I'm sorry it's happening to you too, Jill. Amazing how convincing Michelle Obama is when she lies." Ouch. Ouch. So you're seeing communication behind the scenes of these other campaigns, and they've had it, both of them. Wouldn't it be funny if not only RFK Jr., but Jill Stein becomes a part of this avenging new party, this unity party that the word keeps coming out? I wonder how many times we're going to hear that in either tonight's speech or right now. It could be a constant refrain over the next few months. Unity, unity, unity. The Democrats are crooked. They're doing anything they possibly can to win, including disenfranchising millions and millions of Dementia Joe's voters, installing a puppet, another puppet, this time a more lively puppet, but nonetheless still a puppet. And they're going to try and steal this election as well. And so now you've got this group, just checking, coming together. It's at 1:44, so we still got 15 minutes. Let me hear what you guys have to say about this. Okay, they are filth. Why the slow mode? It's disruptive to the flow. Only because when the mods can't keep up with everything. That's the only reason why. Prey protection over all of them, absolutely. Trump does. Okay, hear this a lot. Trump doesn't need RFK support. It'd be nice, but don't promise him anything. We're talking about the future of the United States as we know it. I believe when you build a coalition, you have people in place that you may not all, 100% get along with, but they're going to strengthen you. You remember the movie when, the guy got the 5 pieces of the jewelry in his fist. I think we have to build a strong, strong, strong coalition. And with what RFK Jr. is planning, I don't know how he's going to do it, but if anybody can, he will break up those 3-letter agencies. Absolutely destroy them. James Lane, that would be so great. Trump, Vance with the best of the RFK Jr., Vivek, and many more. Yeah, I want to hear that. How ironic that they say the party of democracy, but they don't allow other parties to run and do anything to destroy these other parties. Amen, Barry, absolutely. I think RFK Jr. would be awesome teaming up with Trump. Trump's a businessman, and he wasn't able to operate the way he normally operates in the last administration. There were too many snakes. You know, when he runs his business, he's got a board of directors, he's got a team that goes out and executes his plan for X development, Y development, and obviously that has worked very, very well. Has had some failures, but overall more success, more ups than downs. So I think he has stepped back and said, you know what, I got to do the same thing. I got to make sure I have somebody who's really good at architecture. I don't know anything about architecture. I know a little bit about it, but I want an expert in architecture who's going to tell me, no, you can't put this building here because of this rule, this zoning, and I'm going to trust this guy to make sure I get the best designed buildings. I got another guy here who's the best contractor, the best director of contracting, who's going to tell me, you know, we're going to have to bring in concrete from this company. And you see what I mean? I don't need to know everything. I need to have the most competent, loyal people available to me, knowing we're working on something moving forward. See, the Democrats were tricky. They tried to make it sound like, you know, like the word loyalty was a bad thing. Oh, he wants people to, you know, basically swear loyalty to him. Come on, man. Why wouldn't you, at this point, want someone who's going to be loyal to you? Why wouldn't you want to have somebody who's going to have that kind of interest in what you're doing? They make it sound like it's a bad thing. Loyalty, especially with the snakes in the political game here, that's not a bad thing. As long as they all have the same goal in mind, they want to get there. Now, of course, there's some people here who have got other political aspirations. RFK Jr. may want to be president in 2028. Vivek may want to be president in 2028. Who knows? Tulsi Gabbard may want to run. J.D. Vance may want to run. But right now, there is no 2028 if Kamala Harris gets elected. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. They're like, oh, I don't like Robert Kennedy. I don't know what he was there. Let's fight over that after. Let's destroy this woman and the Democrats right now in November. There are so many things that we have to fix. The voting selection, getting one-day voting. None of this 25 or 30 days of voting. You got to go that day. You got to have an ID. You can't be from another country. All the different things that the Democrats have tried to chip away and change the way we vote, all these things have got to be fixed, brought back in. And I think if these guys can get together and you vote down ballot and strengthen the entire, you know, ecosphere of the I don't even know what the name of the party will be. I don't think we can even call it Republican Party anymore. I don't know if we can call it, I don't know. The Unity Party just sounds perfect to me because I'd love to see some unity with a bunch of different people, you know? Yeah, this is war. You're definitely got to build a coalition. You got to bring in allies that want to do the same thing. So I'm checking here to see if they refreshed because I got a couple of things I'd have to do. It's 1:49. Let me just refresh and see it. Okay, hold on. 1 second, everybody. Got to turn my back on you. So I got to get this straight. They just put up the link. And all right, so 1 second. And here we go. All right, so I got it. This is the, just so you know what I was doing, I was putting the page together. That's what it's going to be. And I got some configuration I got to do to make sure that the size of it works inside the screen so you guys can hear it. But they have posted the page. All right. So anyway, give me 1 second. I want to make sure this is correct. Don't want you guys to miss anything, so I'm going to make sure the layers are correct here. I got to zoom out so it'll fit. Okay, no, wait a minute. Talk amongst yourselves, please. Yes, that's right now. 1 second. Okay. Alright. Looking good there. I just have to wait till they get on and we'll see what's going on. Alright. Alright, so we'll take it from there once they sign on. Democrats don't have the emotional energy. See, that's another thing too. That's a good point. That's a very good point, because one of the things that I'm noticing and looking at this is, look at the bench. Look at what's coming up behind everything. Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell. The old is gone. Got to get rid of these old guys. Got to get rid of them. You're seeing it. Trump, Elon Musk, RFK Jr., Tucker Carlson. That looks good from my house in Florida. Then you turn around and make RFK Jr. director of CIA. Boom. Absolute boom at that point. You're absolutely right. And that's it. I'm just messing with the lighting, making sure everything looks okay in here. This happens. Why is the video stopping? I don't know what you mean. I'm sorry. Don't know what you mean. I'm here. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's the long. Yeah, exactly. I mentioned Tulsi. Now what I was saying is, Tulsi Gabbard, Tucker Carlson, Robert Kennedy to a certain extent, Elon Musk, Vivek. Oh, here we go. Okay, hold on. Let me. They flashed something, so they're testing. Hold on. So it looks like they're testing it because they flashed it on the screen. Nothing happening yet. Let me put it up just in case it comes on, and we'll do that. All right, so they have not gone live with it as of yet. All right, so we're good. We're good. I'm watching it. Okay, cheaters. So what I was saying. Let me go back to that. These people are all young. Tucker, Tulsi, Vivek, J.D. Vance. All these people could be the future leaders of America. Out with the Mitch McConnells. Out with the Chuck Schumers. Out with these old Nancy Pelosi's. These dinosaurs have got to go. They got to get out. And I think right now that's where our party has an advantage on their side. Their youth are nuts. Absolutely friggin' nuts. There's no way AOC is going to be a future leader of America. There's no way Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and those nuts are going to be. One of them got beat. I know the other one got. What's her name? The other crazy one. Cori Bush. She got beat. And Jamal Bohan, whatever his name, Jamal Bowman, he got beat. So they don't have a bench. There's no way there's nuts. Right now, those are the young people they have with Jasmine Crockett and some of those nuts. Hakeem Jeffries. No, that's not it. We have a much stronger bench. So the idea, from my perspective, is get in, beat Kamala Harris to a pulp, and destroy the Democrat Party. We're at 154. I've got the screen up. It's still ready to go. As you can see, nothing happening as of yet. So just waiting for it to turn on, and then we'll know right away. Nothing yet. All right. Yeah, Bush and Bowman are gone. Absolutely. Pelosi, Schumer, and Obama, they're snakes behind a crime family in Washington. Yeah, we got to get rid of them. Hakeem is a hand-moving fool. Nicole and Tulsi are easy on the eye. Ashley Merchant, yeah, she could. You know, you're mentioning this. Ashley Merchant and Alina Habba. Alina Habba could most assuredly be the press secretary. I know some of you guys have talked about Tucker Carlson. No, I don't know if we want Tucker Carlson wasted in that position. But Alina Habba, she can deal with him. I've never seen so many people so happy about the disposal business. Yep, you're absolutely right. I don't see any problem with it. They just haven't turned it on yet. So I'm good. I disagree. I'm not saying it's rational. Just saying we have to figure out how to swarm those because how to swarm them because they plan on swarming us with when we fight we win. I think this does it. I think at this point there are enough people. I talked about it the other day. There are enough people who remember, and I'm talking about black and white. There are enough people who remember John F. Kennedy. There are enough people who remember Robert F. Kennedy Sr. There's enough people who remember Martin Luther King. There are enough people, obviously, who know all of these assassinations that have taken place, and they know that they're at the feet of the three-letter agencies. Obviously, my family was black. My parents loved JFK. Absolutely loved him. I remember my mom crying. I was too young when JFK got shot, but my mom was crying when RFK got shot. So there's a lot of people in the black community who understand what it meant when Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, and Robert F. Kennedy all just got taken out and removed, and we were stuck with this machine that followed. George Soros is 96 years old. Let's pray that he goes to his rotten grave real soon. And his son is doing the exact same thing now. Trump is Captain America, Elon is Iron Man, and RFK is Dick Fury. So what did you? It moved past too fast. I was looking. Who did you see for Tucker Carlson? Somebody had something. Oh my God, Ashley and Elena. Now there's an unbeatable team. This could be very good. Can y'all imagine? Can y'all imagine Tampon Timmy as president? I can't imagine him as vice president. Myra says she remembers JFK. Okay, so you're there. Gen X was told not to remember. Don't look back. They kept saying over and over in this Democrat National Convention. And I love how they timed this. They timed this so this would go after Kamala spoke. So Kamala, whatever she did yesterday with her 35 minutes of lies, absolute lies, now has to face the music of these two men talking today. I don't know if she's got anything on her schedule. She's probably basking in the afterglow of lying to the American public, and now she's probably sitting back with her advisors, and they're watching too, going, "What do we do here? If these two guys get together, what's going to happen?" So let me just go ahead and hit refresh over here to make sure we haven't missed anything. Nope, we haven't missed anything. They haven't started it yet. Okay. Hold on. I'm just checking to see if they moved anything. All right, so we are basically waiting for them to flip the switch. It's been running. It is now 1:59, so any second they will start talking. When they start talking, I will obviously flip it over. Let's see. I can. Let's see here. Harris is a waste of time and energy. Yeah, she's done. She's done. And understand the polls are going to be fake. Everything's fake. Thank you, Mr. or Miss Heath, for that. Yes, RFK Jr. could make a good addition to the Supreme Court. There you go. There's something. It's going to be interesting to see where he fits in. RFK better get bulletproof shield too. I think this guy, in my estimation, might be untouchable. I mean, everyone knows you basically destroyed his family. There's a lot of people who believe that JFK Jr. was not it was a victim of foul play as well, even though they're saying it was navigation in his airplane. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people are like, they had their hands in that as well. So I'm checking to see here if anything's happening. I don't see anything happening yet. It's 2:00 p.m. Let me put this up and make sure we're not missing anything. It says they've got 200,000 people ready to watch this. Nothing yet. All right. Waiting. See if he comes out. I can do it on my cell phone better to make sure that we don't miss anything that happens here. I can refresh. So 128,000 people watching at this moment, waiting for him to come on. Okay, great, nothing yet. If he was to turn up dead, there would be a massive civil unrest, since it would be obvious who did the dirty. Yeah, I think he would definitely be would cause an issue. Trump effed up with bad picks in the past. Mattis, Tillerson, Pence, Barrett. Pray he doesn't do that again. I think he knows that. I think he's learned his lesson. Absolutely. Thank you, Larry. Thank you very much. I've been waiting for this all day. Somebody says if they touch RFK Jr., they will absolutely reveal that they were involved. All right, so we have a comment here that says it's been postponed to 2:30. I don't see that anywhere, but there's no reason for me to believe that you're not telling the truth. I'm looking at let me see it. Don't see it. Don't see what it is yet, but doesn't mean it's not happening. Let me check over here because I can do it on two different screens at the same time. So we can see. See, I've got one. My laptop is feeding in, and then from there I can see. So I can do it this way. So let me go here. So that way we can keep talking, and you can. But it's really interesting. Look at some of these comments under here. Where'd they go? There was a whole bunch of comments there. Are they? Looks like they keep refreshing or something, because there were a bunch of comments under the post, and now this. Oh yeah, here's what they did. Looks like they're refeeding for some reason, because there's two of them here. So not sure if one of them didn't work, and then they're gonna go with this one. All right, we can see both of them. I don't know what they're doing. Technology. Some of these guys, man, I swear, some of these teams, I don't know who they hire, but they don't seem to be able to get this stuff correct. So let's just do our thing here and continue to look at what you guys are saying. Big Bad Don by Ron McCloskey. RFK should be Trump's attorney general. He could be attorney general, but I would love to see him take on the CIA. Hey, Bobby, thank you very much. I'm trying to. If these other people would get their acts together, it'd be so much easier for us. So let me just make sure that I can see this. Nothing is happening as of yet. So, don't know. Let's see here. They never do. Seems like they never have their crap together. I don't know who these people. One says 2:30. Where do you see the one with 2:30? Hold on. Let's go back to this. Does this one say? One of them says 2:30. 2. No, they both say 2 p.m. on them. Looks like they tried to start this one. It looked like it went for 12 minutes. Maybe a countdown, and then this one here. It says live. They both say, no, this one doesn't say live anymore, so that one's done. Let's see what this one is. This one says 2 o'clock, but it's only 12 minutes. So obviously they're having some sort of technical difficulties. So everyone's back on this one, waiting to see if it. And I have to make sure that's the one I have queued up. All right, so I just refreshed. Nothing going on yet. They still have not started. All right, so I'm good to go. It's not me. They just don't have their stuff together at this point yet, so we can't do anything about that. RFK Jr. for FBI director. Yeah. Vivek Ramaswamy has done a good job. There's a video going around, I don't know if you've seen it, where he basically confronted, what's his name? What's that dude's name? The black guy, Van Jones. He confronted Van Jones and basically yelled at him for basically almost getting his family killed. So that's crazy. Sorry, absolute no on Jill Stein. I have Fox on in the background. Nothing yet. I'm watching it on the Hill. Starts in 4 minutes. Doesn't say. Just says 2 o'clock. If you see it pop up before I see it pop up, I've got my cell phone on it too, so we can see everything that starts here. I'm not sure why they're having so much of a problem. This isn't rocket science, people. If little old me can work different screens and different feeds and put up a camera and a microphone, you'd think these guys running with $1 million budgets could get this crap going. Don't understand why they have so much problem getting all this stuff put together. Go ahead and give me a call if you want to give me a call. I won't charge you that much. But anyway, it's crazy. It's quicker for them to update text than an image. Yeah, actually, it's not that hard. Oh, yeah, we can talk about this. What did you guys think about that? Sean's talking about the video of Tim Walz yanking his special needs son and walking off the stage. I thought it was terrible. Like, I don't know what's going on in their family, but I do know you're on stage in front of a gazillion people in the biggest moment of your life. The most high-pressure moment you've ever experienced, and this is how you act in front of it? You yank your son? What are you going to do if you're sitting across and trying to negotiate with Hamas or something? That was what it was to me. I'm like, I don't know how he has worked with his son at home. I don't have a special needs child, thank God, and so I don't know what's entailed. Maybe that's you have to do that. Maybe you have to snap him out. I don't know. All I'm saying is that was your biggest moment of your political career. You're walking on stage after Kamala Harris just accepted the nomination for the president, and you're yanking your kid. Maybe if you think your kid might have an issue, maybe do like Kamala and leave a kid home. I'm pretty sure what they said was she didn't bring out her father, and I think her father's still alive. But man, I just thought that was piss poor. Could be a cyber attack. Yeah, that's the one part I don't have to worry about. You're right. Everyone knows because you have to announce what time you're going on, and then all of a sudden, who knows what's going on? Let me see if has Elon said anything about it, because I'm sure it doesn't have the load capacity of what Trump and Elon did. I'm looking at it right now. There's only 155,000 people simultaneously. But still, post something. Hey, listen, like you said, 2:30. We got something to do. And so here's, thank you, Giovanni. Here's something that I'm going to have an issue with. Hopefully this is a quick press conference. Hey, I'm backing out and I'm joining forces with Trump, blah, blah, blah. Because I got to turn this off and then get back into my software and get ready for Trump's 2:45. I think... let me just check to make sure. I've got a rally with Trump. Trump is speaking from Las Vegas. And let's see what time he goes on. All right, I got 2:45. That's all I've got. So I have to shut this down, get going again on the big man's rally. We got to go with Trump stuff at 2:45. So come on, Robert, get your stuff going, man. You're already 10 minutes behind, and we're on a time crunch here. Just can't hang out. Florence said he's not endorsing Trump. Okay. You think so? CBS News said RFK tweeted 2:30, which, am I going to have to call fake news? Okay, yeah, he did say that 19 seconds ago, which I can show you, so you know I'm not making it up. Somebody, he moved it back to 2:30. It means I can only stay on this thing for 15 minutes. Where is it? Let me hit refresh here so you guys can see it. Where is it? Yeah, the time change. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will now address the nation at 2:30 Eastern. Whew, cutting it close for me, bud. Real close. I got stuff to do. But anyway, 2:30. That's what we're looking at. 2:30, and we'll go from there. So, thank you for that. It's true. Lincoln, JFK, Trump, Three Musketeers. It's funny to me every time I move too fast. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Robert, thank you very much. Yeah, I heard he was endorsing Trump. Everyone's hearing that. If we can hear RFK later, then I'm cool with that. I'd rather be with you when Don starts talking. So just so you guys know, let me just it just popped up. Following this man is a job in and of itself in terms of everything he does. He popped up on his schedule that I guess on his way to Arizona tonight, he decided to stop in Las Vegas, and he's doing an event at 2:45. I go live 3 o'clock, so I've got some time. 3 o'clock, he speaks at a restaurant about the original, the OG, no tax for tips. Not the Kamala no tax for tips, the OG no tax for tips. So he decided he was going to do a quick speech in Las Vegas before he heads to Glendale or Arizona. Actually, if you look at a map, it probably went past Glendale, Arizona to no, that would be Vegas and then down. So it's good. But anyway, yeah, he's talking there. But we want to see what he does at 5:30. Let me make sure. Anything else happening? 2:30. It's still running. Okay, we're good. This was interesting. Nicole, I assume you're talking about Nicole Shanahan. Nicole was on Dan Bongino's show this morning and said there will be no endorsement today. Interesting. Why? Did she say why? RFK's VP said they cannot endorse Trump unless he apologized for the jab. Oh, okay. So they want him to apologize for initializing the jab, and wow, that's a little bit of a poker move there. Or are they waiting until 5:30? That's crazy. One feed appears now at RFK Jr. Nicole Shanahan is RFK Jr.'s running mate, who would have been his vice president if he would have been the nominee, or not nominee if he had won that. I missed that on Don Bongino. Yeah, why would he make that a condition of endorsing Trump? That's stupid. That's really stupid. Yeah, Trump's not going to apologize for that. They want Trump to apologize for Operation Warp Speed. Good luck with that. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. No, no, RFK Jr., the new VP. No way you're bumping out J.D. Vance. That's not going to happen. Well, I'm pretty sure if you think that he's going to apologize for the jab in Operation Warp Speed, that's definitely not going to happen. So if that was a condition, then things change quickly. And then RFK Jr., you don't even need a whole press conference. Nobody cares what you have to say at this point. Just go ahead and drop out. No, we ain't having that. I never heard that on Bongino. Did anybody listen to it this morning? I've got Nicole Shanahan's feed here, and everything she's been saying. Here, let me show you this. She actually tweeted this out earlier. I'm not a Kamala Democrat. I'm not a Trump Republican. I'm an independent American who's endorsing ideas, not a person or a party. I will continue working to give a voice to the voiceless and bring power back to the people. That was 1 hour ago. Let me see what kind of comments. Trump is not an old Republican. Trump is MAGA that fights for all Americans. That's an ad. Please consider endorsing Trump Vance, then join the cabinet. Okay, call me crazy, but what I've seen so far, I believe her. She doesn't miss words. She calls out the lies and corruption. I don't know. I don't know what is going on with this. I guess we all can figure it out when he gets up there and says it. Trump did say, yeah, I don't think he'd put his neck out there. Trump said that that he would have a place for Bobby Kennedy if he came out. Trump had always said that the shot was voluntary. He didn't have to take it. Exactly, Desi. Lots and lots and lots of rumors. Absolutely, lots of rumors. And I don't think, this is why I don't think, I didn't see Bongino's show. I don't know. I can't say for sure. But I don't think RFK Jr. would have had her deliver that message to the public. I don't think he would have said, "Hey, Nicole, go on Dan Bongino's show and say we're not endorsing Trump unless he apologizes for asking people or telling people to take the jab." Because first of all, Trump would tell you to go pound sand, and number two, I don't think you're in a position as the number two to go out and speak for number one. I'm pretty sure J.D. Vance can't go out and speak for Trump. So I don't know how much credence you want to put in that. Let's see here. Secret Service for RFK, thanks to Trump. Yeah, he got him Secret Service. So we'll see what happens. Trust the plan. Yeah, that's about it. And again, okay, that's just a rumor. People like to start garbage. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because I'm just, as I'm thinking it through myself after I just read that comment, I'm like, there's no way I'm sending out my number two to make a statement like that, to take on Trump. I just don't see it. Okay, I listened to Dan's show this morning. I didn't hear it. Thank you very much. RFK's wife will divorce him if he endorses Trump. Well, okay. She said it on Adam Carolla's podcast. I just played a cut from Adam Carolla's podcast. She didn't say it there. Those words never came out of her mouth that he needs to apologize for it. Nope, didn't say it. Watch DB's podcast every day. She was not on. Okay. Trump never mandated the jab. He made it available at a quicker speed for those who wanted it. So if this thing is going to go off at 2:30, I have some time before the Trump thing starts up. I might not have much of a pre-show, which is fine with me. If I can take it, the latest I could bounce here would be about 2:50 to get everything reprogrammed to hit for 3 o'clock. So, and this comment here, I think, is the biggest thing. That's what I heard from Nicole Shanahan. That's what I heard from RFK Jr. is that communism is the big uniter on the other side. What Kamala Harris is looking to do, and what Tim Walz is looking to do, is the cause for people uniting. And I wish a lot more people understood that. I wish a lot more people would realize this isn't a normal election. We're going to have to get with allies who... it's funny, I made the analogy of Lord of the Rings. The orcs are coming, and they got a whole bunch of armies, and then you had the dwarves, and you had the elves, and then you had the other people, and the other tribe, and they all got together, the big trees, everyone got together to basically beat this force called the orcs. Right now, the Democrats, in my estimation, are the orcs. we got to get rid of them. Afterwards, you can figure out where you can go to the different lands of Middle Earth, but we got to get rid of the orcs. Got to get rid of the Democrats at this point. Still checking. It's 2:20. Nothing has happened as of yet. They're saying RFK Jr. Everyone's saying it. It's not 240. Now they moved it to 245. Yeah. I may have to bounce. Yeah, he just posted. Oh man, come on, dude. What the heck are you doing? Just so you guys can see that. Let me pull it up. Wow. They're just wasting time. Right here, he just posted another time change. Robert F. Kennedy will address the nation at 2:45 Eastern. And we are in the East. So 2:30 is not going to happen. Now they're going to push it back to 2:45. So we can still do this. Depending on how far he gets into it, I may have to cut. I don't want to miss any of the Trump speech. I mean, I can't do two at the same time, obviously. So we'll see what we can do and how we can make it work. But yeah, he has pushed it now to 2:45. Don't know. No answer why. Maybe Trump will push his back from 3 o'clock, but I don't know. He's on a schedule because he's got to get to Glendale right thereafter. So live broadcasting isn't easy. Why am I having the feeling that the delays are nothing more than RFK cutting deals with the Democrat Party? Nah. Maybe he's on his way to Vegas. I don't know. Maybe he will announce a Trump speech. Maybe they're not even doing it in where he was. He was supposed to be in Los Angeles. Maybe he's in the air. Have no idea. That would be interesting. Maybe he's getting there to walk on with. Don't know. I don't know if you guys had seen it, but the Trump special guest thing. Let me see if I can find it. If you guys have not seen that, because that's something. There's something going on. What? I can't tell you. I put it up yesterday. Let me see if it's still there. Hold on, scrolling through, trying to find it. This was all yesterday, but Trump said that he's got a special guest today. He didn't put it on Twitter. He put it on Truth Social. So let me go to Truth Social real quick, show you guys this. I can pull all this stuff up pretty quick. He's got another video up about Kamala, so that's pretty funny. So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but if you haven't, maybe this is starting to make a little bit more sense after all. Who knows what kind of negotiations are going on in the back office and what these guys are doing with each other. Could be this, could be that. Not really. Okay, here we go. All right, so we have this post, and it's him with a silhouette, not knowing who the silhouette person is, but he's got a silhouette there, and it says, "Join President Trump in Phoenix tonight, featuring a special guest," and that's all he said. That's the entirety of the message. So something is going on. What it is, I have no idea at this point, but we're just waiting to see what exactly that is. Philippa says there might be security issues. Things are dangerous for those men. I don't know if you saw the yesterday what we were doing. We were showing his speech at the border, and there was a guy out there trying to kill Trump. And then after the speech was over, he went back to the car, and Newsmax was trying to do an interview right at the car, and he goes, "It's not safe to be here right now." He actually said that to the woman on camera. "I'm in danger, and you're in danger standing where you are." So, oh, wait a second. Did y'all hear what happened to the Secret Service? Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot to bring that up. I was going to bring it up later, but we got some time. Let's talk about it. So, Secret Service has now said that they had to basically suspend or put on leave at least 5 Secret Service agents who were involved with the Butler, Pennsylvania security detail. They've had to put them on leave. At least 5 was the word that was put out there. 5 Secret Service agents in that detail have been put on ice. Man, this is we're in very weird times. Was this thing, dare I say, was this an inside job? I mean, I know many of us had thought it. We had an inkling. You know, we're kind of like side-eyeing it and go, this doesn't make any sense. How is there nobody on this roof? And many people have gone out there, Benny Johnson, others have taken pictures and go, that's a straight shot. How did you have no one on this roof? No one on this water tower? How did all this... So many problems. And now today, a little over a month later, now you get to the point where you're like, yeah, we're going to have to put at least these 5 people on ice. At least 5 agents have been put on leave for the time being as they're continuing the investigation. So I've never been in the police. I've never been in any agency, protective agency. I don't know how they work. However, if you're getting put on leave, there's something they found in this investigation that tells them, yeah, we're going to have to dig a little bit further and we can't have you working anywhere. And we definitely don't want you protecting Trump. Arizona man just arrested for threats to unlive Trump. Man. Laura Loomer just announced that Kennedy is endorsing Trump. Paperwork has been filed in Pennsylvania. Okay, well, let's look up Laura Loomer and see what she's got. I can show it to you. That's good reporting there, buddy. Or Miss Tony, how you doing? Let's look at what Miss Loomer has indeed posted while we wait. I've got the screens working. Let's see here. And a lot of people think Laura's a crackpot, but I think this. I have to say that I indeed find a lot of her stuff quite compelling. Laura Loomer, 3 minutes ago, brilliant move by Robert F. Kennedy to steal Kamala Harris' spotlight right after DNC by choosing to end his presidential campaign and endorse Trump in the key state of Arizona. This will likely give President Trump an 8 to 10 point boost over Kamala if the Kennedy voters all vote for Trump. But that was 4 minutes ago. Down here, she's got a fire siren, and her siren, as you can see, is RFK Jr. says he's endorsing President Trump. That was 7 minutes ago. 7 minutes ago. So I'm not sure where she got the information, but that's what she has posted. Let's hear it from him directly. I'm hold off on popping champagnes until he says it. This game is changing. This is it. Now is a good time to celebrate. I don't know. You're finding out the information just as I'm finding it out, and we are waiting for this thing to start again. Now we're looking at about, if they don't change it again, in a few minutes. Wow. They're being investigated. Yeah. Even more like 3 to 4 points, but we'll take them. When you hear of wars and rumors and famine and pestilence, look up for your redemption. Doth night come. Yeah, crazy. It's too late for the Democrats to make a deal with RFK. Now, they sued him. They took all his money. He's not going to go with them. Fox just announced that RFK will endorse President Trump. Somebody says, I'm watching Fox now and I just see an empty stage. So nothing as of yet. A lot going on. I know, let's see here. Yeah, her Nicole's family did flee communist China. RFK should have had a video of RFK Jr. arriving at Helm's Deep to aid Trump. To look up AP News report. Yeah, also, what was that about Mark Levin? Where was that? Mark Levin said, no, RSBN is already showing, what they're showing is the they're already in Las Vegas getting ready to show that. That's what I was hoping to jump to really quickly. Vivek for Secretary of State. Come on, Robert, get your crap together. I'm not believing it until I hear RFK Jr. say it himself. I'm watching right side broadcast and there's nothing there yet either. They said about 5 minutes. Okay. So wait a second. Are you telling me your right side is at the RFK Jr. event? Because RFK, if they're at the RFK Jr. event, then that tells me that because our right side usually travels with Trump. So is Trump at this? I don't know. This is crazy. Fox Chiron says court filing: RFK Jr. will endorse Trump. Oh man, this is getting really good, really good. We're using the Wildcat formation, Barry. This is crazy. We've waited for Trump longer. True that, true that. Do not underestimate what's going down today. I'm not underestimating it. In fact, I'm probably the one who's overinflating it. I'm saying if what I think is going to happen over the next 8 to 10 hours, meaning this event, and then tonight, the huge one in Glendale, my feeling is they are coming together not to win this election. They are coming in to basically destroy the Democrat Party forever. At this point, with bringing him on and the plans that he would have in his mind because of what has happened to his family, and you coupled with Trump and what's happened to him, oh man, yeah, they better be afraid. They better be absolutely terrified. Oh, he's going to come in. He's going after his political enemies. Too late. You drew first blood. You absolutely drew first blood. They should actually play that Rambo scene because Stallone's a Trump supporter. Play that scene at every rally. Hey, you going to come out of there? You drew first blood. Now it's time for retribution. Now it's time for comeuppance. You're not going to shame people at rallies and say Trump wants to, he wants to put his political opponents in jail. No, not you, Kamala. I don't think you're stupid. You covered for things, but I don't know how much you were involved in what's happened. Merrick Garland, you might need to get some Depends, borrow them from, borrow the Depends from Joe, because it's about to get dirty. It's going to get real dirty. If you look at the history of the Democratic Party, they should be abolished. Yeah, this could be it. So people are saying here that there's a Pennsylvania court filing. RFK Jr. will endorse Trump. If any of you guys are hearing, because I have a question, why would you have to file in Pennsylvania that you're going to endorse somebody? Are you moving money over too? I mean, why would you have to file that you are going to endorse another candidate? I don't understand that. I don't have enough political capital to wonder why that would happen. Okay, so we got Laura Loomer again here. Maybe she's got some information. It looks as though she does here. Let's look at what she wrote. She goes, the decision to endorse President Trump was announced by Kennedy in a Pennsylvania court filing requesting removal from the ballot. Democrats are about to learn how they have never been the party of democracy. Ooh. So I knew that he had said that, please remove me from Arizona. Now he's saying, please remove me from Pennsylvania. And they must have a I don't know, a line item or a field that says, why are you getting out of here? I'm endorsing Trump. Wow. This is more than RFK votes, but it shows a force of unity. It sure does. Right side is broadcasting JFK just got the announcement. What do you mean he just got the announcement? So our right side broadcasting is there right now. Let me see what we got here. All right, so I'm looking at right side broadcasting isn't there. Just to let you guys know, they're looking at the exact same thing we are. So what you're seeing, unless they cut, let me see if I can go back if they show them there. No, they're not. I don't think they're at the event. No, it looks like they've got something set up, and it says they're waiting for the announcement as well. So, but they had the same. They have this up on their screen right now too. So maybe they will cut to it. Here, let's listen. Let me see if I can pull this in here, and hold on a second, and we can listen to this. I don't use right side anymore because, as some of you guys know, the sound issue has been so bad with right side lately. Coming through my computer is a second feed, but let's see what happens here.
Tough times, but you know what? If you don't laugh, if you don't have any joy, if you don't have anything that feels good in your life, obviously it's a negative, miserable life. So we need to have that joy inserted into this country more, as you guys know. The joy of the Lord is your strength, right? If you want to go into the faith aspect there. But it was great to see that with President Trump yesterday on Truth Social. A lot of people following him on there, and a lot of people following Right Side as well. We're pushing, I think it's 700,000 followers right now on Truth. So that's, I think we're at 696. So if we can get to that 700 mark, why not a million, you know? We got 73 days until the biggest election of our lives, the biggest election for this country ever. And we're hoping for the right thing to happen. We're praying for the right thing to happen. We don't want what Maduro did in Venezuela. We don't want the UK censorship. We don't want our rights being taken from us. We are a free people, a free nation, and we're hoping for it to continue on. Can I get an amen from you out there watching right now, from all across this country, and some people around the world as well watching, as we await. As you see there, it says 2 p.m. Eastern, but it is actually 2:30 Eastern. The delay for the start to that announcement there. Obviously, we're a few minutes behind, but as you know, in politics, when people are meeting people and answering phone calls and speaking to the press and security measure, I mean, there's so many reasons, as you know, as to why things don't start right on time. But that's the way it goes, and that's fine. We'll cover it as it comes to us here. Again, RFK Jr. announcement coming up. We'll have it live streamed right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network.
All right, so we're not the only ones. Everyone is waiting with bated breath as to what's going on. Okay, two days ago, RSBN is going through Starlink. Well, see, the feed I had was directly through Starlink with Elon Musk on X. So I got you covered either way. Nehemiah 8:10, joy of the Lord is our strength. AP has announced, I think you meant RFK. JFK endorsing Trump would be fantastic, but I think kind of impossible. But I know what you mean. Yeah, AP, everyone's saying it. If RFK loves America, he will do the right thing and endorse Trump. Absolutely. I firmly believe that. Wow, this could be absolutely crazy. Hey, Karen's crazier sister. Hey to you. How you doing? How you doing? Barry, you must be a whiz on the computer. Keep up the work. After doing this for a while, number one, I had to buy a much bigger computer sitting here. I needed more kilowatts. I needed something bigger. So I've got a bigger computer, and now it's a matter of pulling feeds in and being able to get them to work and basically talk to each other. The one issue that I have, the one problem I have is when you set up your live streaming, you have to have individual shows. So when this show ends, whenever it is, then I have to basically start a new stream to bring in that Trump thing at 3 o'clock. So hopefully Trump sees everyone right now is glued to this announcement, and Trump says, I'm going to have to back off on my 3. Maybe I need to go to like 3:30. Trump, if you're listening, Don Jr., Alina Hava, any of you guys, can you tell Trump to push to 3:30? Because right now, everybody's waiting to hear this. So, not kilowatts, I was talking about gigawatts. Thanks for the show. No problem. Thank you. It's important. It's very important to hear what RFK Jr. says right now. Absolutely. We've heard the no tax on tips. So Trump, I'm sorry if we're going to be, segue into that, but we got to hear this. Expose and dismantle the Weather Underground. Barry, show us Trump because RFB will be there later. We're gonna get to Trump. What? Okay, that's what he said. 1.21 gigawatts. What? Wait a second. What? Wait. Okay, stop, dude. Oh, okay. I'm like, you did not send me $1,000. No way. Okay, it's in Thailand. Thank you, very, 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 very much. As you saw yesterday, and we did our prayer meeting. There's a lot of people who needed some Bibles and things, and so that's really going to help. Thank you. Yeah, I needed more power. He talked to Tim the Toolman Taylor from home. Dude, I'm sorry, but when I was doing my previous streams with the football, and it would be like, I could tell the computer would start buzzing, and so I called a tech, and I'm like, what do I need? And he's like, you're going to need all this, and this thing looks like a suitcase sitting on my desk here, in order to do it. Breathe slowly and deeply. Yeah, I'm excited. He needed a flux capacitor. Well, we are definitely going back to the future. Bringing RFK Jr. into the mix here. Like I said, I believe this could be, if it goes the way I think, and we are going to see an unbelievable fight. It is going to be a fight for Middle Earth. The Democrats aren't going to go quietly. They're going to try and do anything. These two guys together are going to be coupled with Elon Musk. Wait till Elon, now that the convention is over, you watch what happens now. You watch how this coalition of people begin getting out there in the public. They wanted her to just have your day in the limelight, say whatever you're going to say, and we know you're not talking to the press. So, from here on out, I would venture to say that JD, Trump, RFK Jr., Elon Musk, you're going to see the true force of this coalition come together to attack the Democrat Party. The other side would love to see us all get excited over nothing. Yeah, they would, but I think we're about to see that happen differently. Chicago officials discussed the end of the DNC, so RFK Jr. waits. What a battle! Wow. Kamala Harris in act and deed endorses Trump. That was a horrible. I mean, I saw something where Rachel Maddow was basically lathering over this speech of nothingness, a complete speech of nothingness. Nothing happened. Tulsi would likely have a place, right? Trump's dream team. Yeah, he's putting that together right now for sure. You mean RFK? It's funny. I do the same thing. That's why I get a kick out of it. I think I called him JFK at one point. FK, yeah. Somebody's probably, Kamala is offering RFK ahead of the pronoun division. Oh boy, it's the USA Avengers team. Oh yeah, and Luke, we got to bring Dan in. We got to get Dan in there as the head of the Secret Service. Absolutely. Somebody else says that they've seen the Pennsylvania court filing says he will endorse Trump. What a way to you know what the other thing is? You're so right here. What a way to sober up the Democrats the day after the DNC, sucking all the energy out of what they thought they built yesterday. So it's 2:43. Let me see if there's been any further change to this thing, and that we're on schedule. Still says 2:45. Oops, here we go. Hold on.
Everyone, welcome so much for being here. I'd like to introduce everyone to bring on Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
I'm sorry to keep everybody waiting. 16 months ago, in April of 2023, I launched my campaign for President of the United States. I began this.
Can everybody hear it? Let me know.
The party of my father, my uncle, the party which I pledged my own allegiance to long before I was old enough to vote. I attended my first Democratic convention at the age of 6 in 1960. And back then, the Democrats were the champions of the Constitution, of civil rights. The Democrats stood against authoritarianism, against censorship, against colonialism, imperialism, and unjust wars. We were the party of labor, of the working class. The Democrats were the party of government transparency and the champion of the environment. Our party was the bulwark against big money interests and corporate power. True to its name, it was the party of democracy. As you know, I left that party in October because it had departed so dramatically from the core values that I grew up with. It had become the party of war, censorship, corruption, big pharma, big tech, big ag, and big money. When it abandoned democracy by canceling the primary to conceal the cognitive decline of the sitting president, I left the party to run as an independent. The mainstream of American politics and journalism derided my decision. Conventional wisdom said that it would be impossible.
Yes, he has a voice box problem, so he's not sick. This is how he talks.
Poses an insurmountable tangle of arbitrary rules for collecting signatures. I would need over 1 million signatures, something no presidential candidate in history had ever achieved. And then I'd need a team of attorneys and millions of dollars to handle all the legal challenges from the DNC. The naysayers told us that we were climbing a glass version of Mount Impossible. So the first thing I want to tell you is that we proved them wrong. We did it because beneath the radar of mainstream media organs, we inspired a massive independent political movement. More than 100,000 volunteers sprang into action, hopeful that they could reverse our nation's decline. Many worked 10-hour days, sometimes in blizzards and blazing heat. They sacrificed family time, personal commitments, and sleep month after month, energized by a shared vision of a nation healed of its divisions. They set up tables at churches and farmers' markets. They canvassed door to door. In Utah and in New Hampshire, volunteers collected signatures in snowstorms, convincing each supporter to stop in the frigid cold, to take off their gloves, and to sign legibly. During a heat wave in Nevada, I met a tall, athletic volunteer who cheerfully told me that he had lost 25 pounds collecting signatures in 117-degree heat. To finance this effort, young Americans donated their lunch money, and senior citizens gave up part of their Social Security checks. Our 50-state organization collected those millions of signatures and more. No presidential campaign in American political history has ever done that. And so I want to thank all of those dedicated volunteers and congratulate the campaign staff who coordinated this enormous logistical feat. Your accomplishments were regarded as impossible. You carried me up that glass mountain. You pulled off a miracle. You achieved what all the pundits said could never be done. You have my deepest gratitude, and I'm never going to forget that, not just for what you did for my campaign, but for the sacrifices you made because you love our country. You showed everyone that democracy is still possible here. It continues to survive in the press and in the idealistic human energies that still thrive beneath a canvas of neglect and of official and institutional corruption. Today, I'm here to tell you that I will not allow your efforts to go to waste. I'm here to tell you that I will leverage your tremendous accomplishments to serve the ideals that we share, the ideals of peace, of prosperity, of freedom, of health, all the ideals that motivated my campaign. I'm here today to describe the path forward that you've opened with your commitment and with your hard labors. Now, in an honest system, I believe that I would have won the election in a system the kind that my father and my uncles thrived in, a system with open debates, with fair primaries, with regularly scheduled debates, with fair primaries, and with a truly independent media untainted by government propaganda and censorship. In a system of nonpartisan courts and election boards, everything would be different. After all, the polls consistently showed me beating each of the other candidates, both in favorability and also in head-to-head matchups. But I'm sorry to say that while democracy may still be alive at the grassroots, it has become little more than a slogan for our political institutions, for our media, and for our government, and most sadly at all for me, the Democratic Party. In the name of saving democracy, the Democratic Party set itself to dismantling it, lacking confidence in its candidate, that its candidate could win in a fair election at the voting booth. The DNC waged continual legal warfare against both President Trump and myself. Each time that our volunteers turned in those towering boxes of signatures needed to get on the ballot, the DNC dragged us into court, state after state, attempting to erase their work and to subvert the will of the voters who had signed those petitions. It deployed DNC-aligned judges to throw me and other candidates off the ballot and to throw President Trump in jail. It ran a sham primary that was rigged to prevent any serious challenge to President Biden. Then, when a predictably bungled debate performance precipitated the palace coup against President Biden, the same shadowy DNC operatives appointed his successor, also without an election. They installed a candidate who was so unpopular with voters that she dropped out in 2020 without winning a single delegate. My uncle and my father both relished debate. They prided themselves on their capacity to go toe-to-toe with any opponent in the battle over ideas. They would be astonished to learn of a Democratic Party presidential nominee who, like Vice President Harris, has not appeared in a single interview or an unscripted encounter with voters for 35 days. This is profoundly undemocratic. How are people to choose when they don't know whom they are choosing? And how can this look to the rest of the world? My father and my uncle were always conscious of America's image abroad because of our nation's role as the template for democracy, the role model for democratic processes, and the leader of the free world. Instead of showing us her substance and character, the DNC and its media organs engineered a surge of popularity for Vice President Harris based upon, well, nothing. No policies, no interviews, no debates, only smoke and mirrors and balloons in a highly produced Chicago circus. There in Chicago, a string of Democratic speakers mentioned Donald Trump 147 times just on the first day. Oh, who needs a policy when you have Trump to hate? In contrast, at the RNC convention, President Biden was mentioned only twice in 4 days. I do interviews every day. Many of you have interviewed me. Anybody who asks gets to interview me. Some days I do as many as 10. President Trump, who actually was nominated and won an election, also does interviews daily. How did the Democratic Party choose a candidate that has never done an interview or debate during the entire election cycle? We know the answers. They did it by weaponizing the government agencies. They did it by abandoning democracy. They did it by suing the opposition and by disenfranchising American voters. What most alarms me isn't how the Democratic Party conducts its internal affairs or runs its candidates. What alarms me is the resort to censorship and media control. and the weaponization of the federal agencies. When a U.S. president colludes with or outright coerces media companies to censor political speech, it's an attack on our most sacred right of free expression, and that's the very right upon which all of our other constitutional rights rest. President Biden mocked Vladimir Putin's 88% landslide in the Russian elections, observing that Putin and his party controlled the Russian press and that Putin prevented serious opponents from appearing on the ballot. But here in America, the DNC also prevented opponents from appearing on the ballot. And our television networks expose themselves as Democratic Party organs. Over the course of more than a year in a campaign where my poll numbers reached at times in the high 20s, the DNC-aligned mainstream media networks maintain a near perfect embargo on interviews with me. During his 10-month presidential campaign in 1992, Ross Perot gave 34 interviews on mainstream networks. In contrast, during the 16 months since I declared, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, and CNN combined gave only 2 live interviews from me. Those networks instead ran a continuous deluge of hit pieces with inaccurate, often vile, pejoratives and defamatory smears. Some of those same networks and colluded with the DNC to keep me off the debate stage. Representatives of those networks are in this room right now, and I'll just take a moment to ask you to consider the many ways that your institutions have abdicated this really sacred responsibility, the duty of a free press to safeguard democracy and to challenge always the party in power. Instead of maintaining that posture of fear, skepticism toward authority, your institutions have made themselves government mouthpieces and stenographers for the organs of power. You didn't alone cause the devolution of American democracy, but you could have prevented it. The Democratic Party's censorship of social media was even more of a naked exercise of executive power. This week, a federal judge, Terry Doty, upheld my injunction against President Biden, calling the White House's censorship project, quote, the most egregious violation of the First Amendment in the history of the United States of America. Doty's previous 155-page decision details how just 37 hours after he took the oath of office, swearing to uphold the Constitution, President Biden and his White House opened up a portal and then invited the CIA, the FBI, CISA, which is a censorship agency, it's the center of the censorship industrial complex, DHS, the IRS, and other agencies to censor me and other political dissidents on social media. Even today, users who try to post my campaign videos to Facebook or YouTube get messages that this content violates community standards. 2 days after Judge Doty rendered his decision this week, Facebook was still attaching warning labels to an online petition calling on ABC to include me in the upcoming debate. They said that violates community standards, their community standards. The mainstream media was once the guardian of the First Amendment and democratic principles, and it's joined this systemic attack on democracy. It also, the media justifies their censorship on the grounds of combating misinformation, but governments and oppressors don't censor lies. They don't fear lies. They fear the truth, and that's what they censor. And I don't want any of this to sound like a personal complaint, because it's not. For me, it's all part of a journey, and it's a journey that I signed up with. But I need to make these observations because I think they're critical for us doing the thing that we need to do as citizens in a democracy to assess where we are in this country and what our democracy still looks like, and the assumptions about U.S. leadership around the globe. And are we living up? Are we really still a role model for democracy in this country? Or have we made it, a kind of a joke? And here's the good news. While mainstream outlets denied me a critical platform, they didn't shut down my ideas, which have especially flourished among young voters and independent voters, thanks to the alternative media. Many months ago, I promised the American people that I would withdraw from the race if I became a spoiler. A spoiler is someone who will alter the outcome of the election but has no chance of winning. In my heart, I no longer believe that I have a realistic path to electoral victory in the face of this relentless systematic censorship and media control. So I cannot in good conscience ask my staff and volunteers to keep working their long hours or ask my donors to keep giving when I cannot honestly tell them that I have a real path to the White House. Furthermore, our polling consistently showed that by staying on the ballot in the battleground states, I would likely hand the election over to the Democrats with whom I disagree on the most existential issues: censorship, war, and chronic disease.
Say it.
Oh, I want everyone to know that I am not terminating my campaign. I am simply suspending it and not ending it. My name, my name will remain on the ballot in most states. If you live in a blue state, you can vote for me without harming or helping President Trump or Vice President Harris. In red states, the same will apply. I encourage you to vote for me. And if enough of you do vote for me, and neither of the major party candidates win 270 votes, which is quite possible. In fact, today our polling shows them tying at 269 to 269. And I could conceivably still end up in the White House in a contingent election. But in about 10 battleground states where my presence would be a spoiler, I'm going to remove my name. And I've already started that process and urge voters not to vote for me. It's with a sense of victory and not defeat that I'm suspending my campaign activities. Not only did we do the impossible by collecting 1 million signatures, we changed the national political conversation forever. Chronic disease, free speech, government corruption, breaking our addiction to war have moved to the center of politics. I can say to all who have worked so hard the last year and a half, thank you for a job well done. 3 great causes drove me to enter this race in the first place, primarily. And these are the principal causes that persuaded me to leave the Democratic Party and run as an independent. And now to throw my support to President Trump. The causes were free speech,
There it is,
a war in Ukraine, and the war on our children. I've already described some of my personal experiences and struggles with the government's censorship industrial complex. I want to say a word about the Ukraine war. The military industrial complex has provided us with a familiar comic book justification, like they do on every war, that this one is a noble effort to stop a supervillain, Vladimir Putin, invading the Ukraine and then to thwart his Hitler-like march across Europe. In fact, tiny Ukraine is a proxy in a geopolitical struggle initiated by the ambitions of the U.S. neocons or American global hegemony. I'm not excusing Putin for invading Ukraine. He had other options. But the war is Russia's predictable response to the reckless neocon project of extending NATO to encircle Russia, a hostile act. The credulous media rarely explain to Americans that we unilaterally walked away from 2 intermediate nuclear weapons treaties with Russia and then put nuclear-ready Aegis missile systems in Romania and Poland. This is a hostile act. And that the Biden White House repeatedly spurned Russia's offer to settle this war peacefully. The Ukraine war began in 2014 when U.S. agencies overthrew the democratically elected government of Ukraine and installed a hand-picked pro-Western government that launched a deadly civil war against ethnic Russians in Ukraine. In 2019, America walked away from a peace treaty, the Minsk Agreement, that had been negotiated between Russia and Ukraine by European nations. And then in April of 2022, we wanted the war. In April of 2022, President Biden sent Boris Johnson to Ukraine to force President Zelensky to tear up a peace agreement that he and the Russians had already signed, and the Russians were withdrawing troops from Kiev and Donbass and Lugansk. And that peace agreement would have brought peace to the region and would have allowed Donbass and Lugansk to remain part of Ukraine. President Biden stated that month that his objective in the war was regime change in Russia. His Defense Secretary, Lloyd Austin, simultaneously explained that America's purpose in the war was to exhaust the Russian army, to degrade its capacity to fight anywhere else in the world. These objectives, of course, have nothing to do with what they were telling Americans about protecting Ukraine's sovereignty. Ukraine is a victim in this war, and it's a victim of the West. Since then, of Russia and both Russia and the West. Since then, we have, since tearing up that agreement, forcing Zelensky to tear up the agreement, we've squandered the flower of Ukrainian youth, as many as 600,000 Ukrainian kids and over 100,000 Russian kids, all of whom we should be mourning, have died, and the Ukraine's infrastructure is destroyed. The war has been a disaster for our country as well. We squandered nearly $200 billion already, and these are badly needed dollars in our communities, suffering communities all over our country. The Nord Stream pipeline sabotage and the sanctions have destroyed Europe's industrial base, which formed the bulwark of U.S. national security. A strong Germany with a strong industry is a much, much stronger deterrent to Russia, and a Germany that is deindustrialized and turned into just an extension of U.S. military base. We've pushed Russia into a disastrous alliance with China and Iran. We're closer to the brink of nuclear exchange than at any time since 1962. And the neocons in the White House don't seem to care at all. Our moral authority and our economy are in shambles. And the war gave rise to the emergence of BRICS, which now threatens to replace the dollar as the global reserve currency. This is a first-class calamity for our country. Judging by her bellicose, belligerent speech last night in Chicago, we can assume that President Harris will be an enthusiastic advocate for this and other neocon military adventures. And President Trump says that he will reopen negotiations with President Putin and end the war overnight as soon as he becomes president. This alone would justify my support for his campaign. Last summer, it looked like no candidate was willing to negotiate a quick end to the Ukraine war, to tackle chronic disease epidemic, to protect free speech, our constitutional freedoms, to clean corporate influence out of our government, or to defy the neocons and their agenda of endless military adventurism. And now one of the two candidates has adopted these issues as his own, to the point where he has asked to enlist me in his administration. I'm speaking, of course, of Donald Trump. Less than 2 hours after President Trump narrowly escaped assassination, Callie Means called me on my cell phone. I was then in Las Vegas. Callie is arguably the leading advocate for food safety, for soil regeneration, and for ending the chronic disease epidemic that is destroying America's health and ruining our economy. Callie has exposed the insidious corruption at the FDA, the NIH, the HHS, and the USDA that has caused the epidemic. Callie had been working on and off for my campaign, advising me on those subjects since the beginning. And those subjects have been my primary focus for the last 20 years. I was delighted when Callie told me that day that he had also been advising President Trump. He told me President Trump was anxious to talk to me about chronic disease and other subjects and to explore avenues of cooperation. He asked if I would take a call from the president. President Trump telephoned me a few minutes later, and I met with him the following day. A few weeks later, I met again with President Trump and his family members and closest advisors in Florida. In a series of long, intense discussions, I was surprised to discover that we are aligned on many key issues. In those meetings, he suggested that we join forces as a unity party. We talked about Abraham Lincoln's team of rivals. That arrangement would allow us to disagree publicly and privately and fiercely, if need be, on issues over which we differ, while working together on the existential issues upon which we are in concordance. I was a ferocious critic of many of the policies during his first administration, and there are still issues and approaches upon which we continue to have very serious differences. We are aligned with each other on other key issues like ending the forever wars, ending the childhood disease epidemics, securing the border, protecting freedom of speech, unraveling the corporate capture of our regulatory agencies, getting the U.S. intelligence agencies out of the business of propagandizing and censoring and surveilling Americans and interfering with our elections. Following my first discussion with President Trump, I tried unsuccessfully to open similar discussions with Vice President Harris. Vice President Harris declined to meet or even to speak with me. Suspending my candidacy is a heart-rending decision for me, but I'm convinced that it's the best hope for ending the Ukraine war and ending the chronic disease epidemic that is eroding our nation's vitality from the inside, and for finally protecting free speech. I feel a moral obligation to use this opportunity to save millions of American children, above all things. In case some of you don't realize how dire the condition is of our children's health and chronic disease in general, I would urge you to view Dr. Carlson's recent interview with Callie Means and his sister, Dr. Casey Means, who is the top graduate of her class at Stanford Medical School. This is an issue that affects all of us far more directly and urgently than any culture war issue and all the other issues that we obsess on and that are tearing apart our country. This is the most important issue. Therefore, it has the potential to bring us together. So let me share a little bit about why I believe it's so urgent. Today, 2/3, we spend more on healthcare than any country on earth, twice what they pay in Europe. And yet we have the worst health outcomes of any nation in the world. We're about 79th in health outcomes behind Costa Rica and Nicaragua and Mongolia and other countries. Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. And during the COVID epidemic, we had the highest body count of any country in the world. We had 16% of the COVID deaths, and we only have 4.2% of the world's population. And CDC says that's because we are the sickest people on earth. We have the highest chronic disease rate on earth. And the average American who died from COVID had 3.8 chronic diseases. So these were people who had immune system collapse, who had mitochondrial dysfunction. And no other country has anything like this. 2/3 of American adults and children suffer from chronic health issues. 50 years ago, that number was less than 1%. So we've gone from 1% to 66%. In America, 74% of Americans are now overweight or obese, and 50% of our children. 120 years ago, when somebody was obese, they were sent to the circus. There were case reports done about them. Obesity was almost unknown. In Japan, the childhood obesity rate is 3% compared to 50% here. Half of Americans have prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. When my uncle was president and I was a boy, juvenile diabetes was effectively non-existent. A typical pediatrician would see one case of diabetes during his entire career, a 40 or 50-year career. Today, 1 out of every 3 kids who walks through his office door is diabetic or pre-diabetic. And the mitochondrial disorder that caused diabetes also causing Alzheimer's, which is now classified as diabetes. And it's costing this country more than our military budget every year. There's been an explosion of neurological illnesses that I never saw as a kid: ADD, ADHD, speech delay, language delay, Tourette's syndrome, narcolepsy, ASD, Asperger's, autism. In the year 2000, the autism rate was 1 in 1,500. Now, autism rates in kids are 1 in 36, according to CDC nationally. Nobody's talking about this. 1 in every 22 kids in California has autism. And this is a crisis that 77% of our kids are too disabled to serve in the United States military. What is happening to our country? And why isn't this in the headlines every single day? There's nobody else in the world that is experiencing this. This is only happening in America. About 18%, and by the way, there has been no change in diagnosis, which the industry sometimes like to say. There has been no change in screening. This is a change in incidence. In my generation, 70-year-old men, the autism rates are about 1 in 10,000. In my kids' generation, 1 in 34. I'll repeat, in California, 1 in 22. Why are we letting this happen? Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? These are the most precious assets that we have in this country. How can we let this happen to them? About 18% of American teens now have fatty liver disease. That's like 1 out of every 5. That disease, when I was a kid, only affected late-stage alcoholics who were elderly. Cancer rates are skyrocketing in the young and the old. Young adult cancers are up 79%. 1 in 4 American women is on antidepressant medication. 40% of teens have a mental health diagnosis. And 15% of high schoolers are on Adderall, and 500,000 children on SSRIs. So what's causing this suffering? I'll name 2 culprits. First, and the worst, is ultra-processed food. About 70% of American children's diet is ultra-processed. That means industrial manufactured in a factory. These foods consist primarily of processed sugar, ultra-processed grains, and seed oils. Laboratory scientists many of them formerly worked for the cigarette industry, which purchased all the big food companies in the 1970s and 80s, deployed thousands of scientists to figure out new chemicals to make the food more addictive. And these ingredients didn't exist 100 years ago. Humans aren't biologically adapted to eat them. Hundreds of these chemicals are now banned in Europe, but ubiquitous in American processed foods. The second culprit is toxic chemicals in our food, our medicine, and our environment. Pesticides, food additives, pharmaceutical drugs, and toxic waste permeate every cell of our bodies. The assault on our children's cells and hormones is unrelenting. To name just one problem, many of these chemicals increase estrogen because young children are ingesting so many of these hormone disruptors. America's puberty rate is now occurring at age 10 to 13, which is 6 years earlier than girls were reaching puberty in 1900. Our country has the earliest puberty rates of any continent on the earth. And no, this isn't because of better nutrition. This is not normal. Breast cancer is also estrogen driven, and it now strikes 1 in 8 women. We are mass poisoning all of our children and our adults. Considering the grievous human cost of this tragic epidemic of chronic disease, it seems almost crass to mention the damage it does to our economy. But I'll say, it is crippling the nation's finances. When my uncle was president, our country has spent $0 on chronic disease. Today, government healthcare spending is almost all for chronic disease. And it's double the military budget. And it is the fastest growing budget item in the federal budget. And chronic disease costs more to the economy as a whole, costs at least $4 trillion, 5 times our military budget. And that's a 20% drag on everything we do and everything we aspire to. Poor and minority communities suffer disproportionately. People who worry about DEI or about bigotry of any kind, this dwarfs anything. We are poisoning the poor. We are systematically poisoning minorities across this country. Industry lobbyists have made sure that most of the food stamp lunch program, about 70% of food stamps and 70 or 77% of school lunches are processed foods. There's no vegetables. There's nothing that you would want to eat. We are just poisoning the poor citizens, and that's why they have the highest chronic disease burden of anybody, any demographic in our country, and the highest in the world. The same food industry lobbied to make sure that nearly all agricultural subsidies go to commodity crops that are the feedstock of processed food industry. These policies are destroying small farms, and they're destroying our soils. We give about, I think, 8 times as much in subsidies to tobacco than we do to fruits and vegetables. It makes no sense. If we want a healthy country, the good news is that we can change all this. We can change it very, very quickly. America can get healthy again. To do that, we need to do 3 things. First, we need to root out the corruption in our health agencies. Second, we need to change incentives in our healthcare system. And third, we need to inspire Americans to get healthy again. 80% of NIH grants go to people who have conflicts of interest. These are the people, virtually everybody who sits, Joe Biden just appointed a new panel to NIH to decide the food recommendations. And they're all people who are from the industry. They're all people who are from the processed food companies. They're deciding what Americans, here is healthy. And the recommendations on the food pyramid and what goes to our school lunch programs, what go to the program, the Swiss program, the food stamp programs. They're all corrupted and conflicted individuals. These agencies, the FDA, USDA, and CDC, all of them are controlled by giant for-profit corporations. 75% of the FDA's funding doesn't come from taxpayer, it comes from pharma. And pharma executives and consultants and lobbyists cycle in and out of these agencies with President Trump's backing. I'm going to change that. We're going to staff these agencies with honest scientists and doctors who are free from industry funding. We're going to make sure the decisions of consumers, doctors, and patients are informed by unbiased science. A sick child is the best thing for the pharmaceutical industry. When American children or adults get sick with a chronic condition, they're put on medication for their entire life. Imagine what will happen when Medicare starts paying for Ozempic, which costs $1,500 a month, and it's being recommended for children as young as 6, all for a condition, obesity, that is completely preventable and barely even existed 100 years ago. And 74% of Americans are obese. The cost, if all of them took their Ozempic prescription, is $3 trillion a year. This is a drug that is made by Novo Nordisk, the biggest company in Europe. It's a Danish company, and the Danish government does not recommend it. It recommends change in diet to treat obesity and exercise. And in our country, the recommendation now is for Ozempic to children at age 6. Novo Nordisk, the biggest company in Europe, and virtually its entire value is based upon its projections of what it's going to sell, of the Ozempic it's going to sell to America. And we have the food lobbyists have a bill in front of Congress today that is backed by the White House, backed by Vice President Harris and President Biden, to allow this to happen. This $3 trillion cost that is going to bankrupt our country. For a fraction of that amount, we could buy organic food for every American family, 3 meals a day, and eliminate diabetes altogether. We're going to bring healthy food back to school lunches. We're going to stop subsidizing the worst foods with our agricultural subsidies. We're going to get toxic chemicals out of our food. We're going to reform the entire food system. And for that, we need new leadership in Washington. Because unfortunately, both the Democrats and the Republican parties are in cahoots with the big food producers, Big Pharma and Big Ag, which are among the DNC's major donors. Vice President Harris has expressed no interest in addressing this issue. 4 more years of Democratic rule will complete the consolidation of corporate and neocon power, and our children will be the ones who suffer most. I got involved with chronic disease 20 years ago, not because I chose to or wanted to. It was essentially thrust upon me. It was an issue that should have been central to the environmental movement. I was a central leader at that time, but it was widely ignored by all the institutions, including the NGOs, who should have been protecting our kids against toxins. It was an orphaned issue, and I had a weakness for orphans. I watched generations of children get sicker and sicker. I had 11 siblings, and I had 7 kids myself. I was conscious of what was happening in their classrooms and to their friends, and I watched these sick kids, these damaged kids. In that generation, almost all of them are damaged. And nobody in power seemed to care or to even notice. For 19 years, I prayed every morning that God would put me in a position to end this calamity. The chronic disease crisis was one of the primary reasons for my running for president, along with ending censorship in the Ukraine war. It's the reason I've made the heart-wrenching decision to suspend my campaign and to support President Trump. This decision is agonizing for me because of the difficulties it causes my wife and my children and my friends. But I have the certainty that this is what I've meant to do. And that certainty gives me internal peace, even in storms. If I'm given the chance to fix the chronic disease crisis and reform our food production, I promise that within 2 years, we will watch chronic disease burden lift dramatically. We will make Americans healthy again. Within 4 years, America will be a healthy country. We will be stronger, more resilient, more optimistic, and happier. I won't fail in doing this. Ultimately, the future, however it happens, is in God's hands and in the hands of the American voters and those of President Trump. If President Trump is elected and honors his word, the vast burden of chronic disease that now demoralizes and bankrupts the country will disappear. This is a spiritual journey for me. I reached my decision through deep prayer, through hard-nosed logic, and I asked myself, what choices must I make to maximize my chances to save America's children and restore national health? I felt that if I refused this opportunity, I would not be able to look myself in the mirror, knowing that I could have saved lives of countless children and reversed this country's chronic disease epidemic. I'm 70 years old. I may have a decade to be effective. I can't imagine that President Harris would allow me or anyone to solve these dire problems. After 8 years of President Harris, any opportunity for me to fix the problem will be out of my reach forever. President Trump has told me that he wants this to be his legacy. I'm choosing to believe that this time he will follow through. His son, his biggest donors, his closest friends, and all support this objective. My joining the Trump campaign will be a difficult sacrifice for my wife and children, but worthwhile if there's even a small chance of saving these kids. Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country and our children is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other. That's why I launched my campaign to unify America. My dad and uncle made such an enduring mark on the character of our nation, not so much because of any particular policies that they promoted, but because they were able to inspire profound love for our country and to fortify our sense of ourselves as a national community held together by ideals. They were able to put their love into the intentions and hearts of ordinary Americans and to unify a national populist movement of Americans, blacks and whites, Hispanics, urban and rural Americans. They inspired affection and love and high hopes and a culture of kindness that continue to radiate among Americans from their memory. That's the spirit on which I ran my campaign and that I intend to bring into the campaign of President Trump. Instead of vitriol and polarization, I will appeal to the values that unite us, the goals that we could achieve if only we weren't at each other's throats. The most unifying theme for all Americans is that we all love our children. If we all unite around that issue now, we can finally give them the protection, the health, and the future that they deserve. Thank you all very much.
Okay, that was simply amazing. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to terminate this feed. And then if you go to my page, you see the one where it says Trump in Las Vegas. We'll regain on that one. We'll talk about more about what happened. So thank you for the super chats. I'm going to have to acknowledge them on the next feed. But I got to shut this feed down to jump to the Trump feed. I'll rewind to where he began speaking so we won't miss anything. That was incredible. Kamala, you're done. Hope you know that. You're done. Let's jump over to Trump. I just can't switch a button. I got to kill this one and go to the next one. All right, so then we'll talk after the Trump speech. Those of you that join us over on that new Trump feed, we'll go ahead and address everything this man just said.